I am supportive of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian forces. But my oath and my duty is to you, the people of Florida, we the people of the United States of America, and that will always be my number one priority. Hey everybody, I hope that you all had a great week. I'm back in Washington, D.C. now, and as always, I've got an update for you on what has happened in Congress during this week. Now to start, I want to begin by speaking about the Ukraine. The ongoing conflict with Russia made lots of headlines when a missile killed 2 people in a neighboring Poland, a NATO ally of ours. Now there's a lot of lessons to be learned here, but I believe that the biggest one is about preparedness. For 10 months, Vladimir Putin and Russia have been launching missiles at sovereign Ukraine, and both countries share borders with NATO nations. The only thing that is surprising here is that it took 10 months for a stray missile to land in NATO territory, and yet it quickly became clear that the White House was completely caught off guard by this situation happening. There was almost 12 hours of hand-wringing and confusion instead of decisive action and prepared reaction. NATO has been around since 1949. It is not new or unprecedented. The White House knows what it means if a NATO ally is in fact attacked. It could invoke Article 5 of the agreement, which clearly states an attack on one NATO nation is an attack on all NATO nations. If a NATO ally is attacked, all members of the agreement are compelled to respond. The last and only time that Article 5 had been invoked in history was following the attacks of September 11th here in the United States of America. It's not something that can be taken lightly at all, but it is a commitment that must be honored, just like our NATO allies honored that commitment as they fought along our side during the war on terror. The fact of the matter is this: the Biden administration was completely unprepared for something that there was always a chance that could happen throughout this Ukrainian-Russian conflict. That's more evidence of what I'd said for months. There needs to be a strategic objective for any action the United States of America takes, whether that's spending your tax dollars on ammunition or foreign aid or preparing for every likely contingency. There needs to be a plan. And unfortunately, in so many situations right now that I can't literally name off in public, your government is derelict. I am supportive of President Zelensky and the Ukrainian forces. But my oath and my duty is to you, the people of Florida, we the people of the United States of America, and that will always be my number one priority. Now, speaking of fighting for Florida, I also want to talk about something you may or may not have heard about this week: Republican leadership elections. This is a little bit of behind the scenes of Washington, D.C. The midterm elections were held last week, and while we were still waiting for the results in some races, it does look like Republicans will have the majority and be the party in control of the House of Representatives come January. And that majority will not elect Nancy Pelosi to be Speaker of the House. We'll actually be firing her. This week, there will be internal conversations and votes within the Republican conference to determine who would serve on our leadership teams, whether Speaker of the House or chairman of various committees. The list will go on and on. Now, to those of you that think all of this sounds like DC swamp garbage, let me tell you why it matters. The Speaker and leadership ultimately decide what will be voted on the floor of the House of Representatives. So, for example, if you want to see a term limits bill passed, the Speaker of the House has to call that bill for a vote. If you want to see people held accountable for Afghanistan and everything that happened with that withdrawal, the Speaker has to put it on the floor. If you want to see inflation addressed in a specific piece of policy or energy policy change, that all has to get run through the office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. So it matters who holds the gavel. And I want to make sure that that is someone who will advocate for conservative solutions to the problems that our country is facing. I also want to make sure that those who were elected to be legislators have a say in the legislative process. There are 435 representatives in the House of Representatives. Each of us represents close to 1 million people. I am your representative in Florida's 21st Congressional District. You deserve to have a say in that process, and your say comes through your representative. That's how our representative government works. That's what we worked on this week. I'm confident that we are setting the House and the country up for success come January. So on that note, as always, it is an honor to be able to represent you, to be able to represent our community, to fight for this place, swing the bat as hard as I can every single time I get an at-bat, to fight for our home that I love as much as the breath in my own lungs. So in that, I wish you all the best. You all take care. Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. I will be back on YouTube with more exclusive content, so stay tuned.